profound impact. A key feature of the inclusiveness is the need for a more agile diplomacy to enable our countries to navigate complex geopolitics and deal with the plethora of regional actors, to address persistent development challenges. This agility will emphasise mobilising actors, networks, resources around common issues, using political leverage where it makes sense, whether across issues, actors in geopolitical context, and whether it be at the regional or sub-regional level. The framework provides the space for a political agility that actively engages with civil society and the private sector to proactively address issues. For example, the process for regional public policy development instituted by the framework, which the Secretariat facilitates, ensures that the Pacific communities, including Australia and New Zealand, are part of political decision-making from the beginning. It ensures that people at the front line of our development challenges can engage in the process that inform the political decisions made to address those challenges. And I'm happy to go into that in much more detail during question time. Another initiative the Secretariat has implemented during the last two forum meetings is a breakfast dialogue between the Forum Troika and civil society. 4 leaders attended the breakfast in 2015, 5 were there this year, and reinforcing the value of this dialogue, the Samoan Prime Minister has undertaken to involve all forum leaders when they meet in Up Here next year. Therefore, the newly emerging wave of regionalism maintains a people-centred lens and Pacific control of a regional agenda. It fosters wider political engagement and manoeuvres creatively through and around structures with the common goal of improving the lives of the Pacific peoples. In this context, development actors need to work with us and understand the politics of development in our region and seek to engage with us in a way that supports our agency and leadership on sustainable development. Let me now turn to the role of Australia. Australia, as a member of the Pacific Island Forum, endorses the framework for Pacific regionalism. It shares responsibility with the other 17 forum members for determining a prioritised regional agenda. As the forum's biggest and wealthiest member, Australia also has unique value in supporting and driving Pacific regionalism. For example, Australia is currently chair of the Green Climate Fund, which provides a great opportunity for supporting access to climate financing by Pacific Island countries. Australia also plays a pivotal role in supporting the region's disaster management efforts, as we have witnessed in the wake of cyclones Pam and Winston in the past couple of years. From an economic perspective, Australia provides opportunities for driving economic growth in the region through trade and labour mobility. While Australia is sitting on a number of important boards in global financial institutions, can play a critical role in helping Pacific Island governments reduce their dependency on aid, as well as developing the capacity of countries to implement the aid it receives. However, the framework for Pacific regionalism also presents some challenges for Australia's foreign policy. The emphasis on inclusive public processes under the framework means that voices of civil society organisations will also help shape regional priorities. So far, these voices have spoken loud and clear on human rights issues facing the region, including the situation in West Papua, refugee detention centres and a range of Indigenous issues. Therefore, questions may emerge regarding Australia's future foreign policy, with the primary question, of course, being how will Australia see its engagement with the Pacific? How will its foreign policy engage with an inclusive regional public policy approach? How will its foreign policy engage with the range of actors that seek to address regional human rights concerns, such as the Pacific Coalition on West Papua, which includes a mix of governments and non-governmental organisations? There are parallel lessons for the way Australia and international NGOs engage with Pacific civil society organisations. For example, international NGOs should be supporting local CSOs to access the funding they need to implement work on the ground. But ultimately, we should be aiming to achieve greater sustainability for local CSOs so they are not dependent on donor funding. Similarly, our local civil society organisation should not be put in a position where they are competing for resources with the international NGOs, which is currently the case. In concluding, I wish to respond to the theme of the conference, impact. I was asked whether or not impact in the context of the Pacific should be conceived in terms of development outcomes or in terms of increasing agency in the processes used to get there. I hope that in what I have just outlined in my remarks, the answer is clear. It is both. Pacific regionalism in 2016 must improve the lives of our people. It needs to be at the vanguard of implementing the Sustainable Development Goals in the Pacific. It needs to drive economic growth, and it needs to ensure safe and secure societies for our people. While impact needs to be felt by people in their daily lives, they also need to have a say as to what issues are important, what issues leaders should be paying attention to, and what the solutions might be. They also need to be included in the implementation of those solutions. Most importantly, we need to work together at different political and technical levels. It is through committed and inclusive collective action that the region will have the best chance of achieving development impact. I thank you, and I wish you all well.